The idea that a single marshmallow could predict your future salary and success has been the most powerful myth in psychology and self-help for the last 50 years. But in 2018, when Professor Tyler Watts and his team at NYU recreated the experiment, the success formula we all believed in completely fell apart. This wasn't just a simple error in the experiment. It is literally the end of a massive psychological gaslighting campaign that told you your life is hard because you lack willpower. But here is the really scary part. What we thought was willpower isn't actually about individual patience. It is about the stability of the environment you are in. Let's ask the real question. Do you actually lack willpower, or is your brain choosing to give up on purpose just to protect you? Today, I'm going to walk you through 3 psychological studies that completely demolish the myth of willpower. And by the end, I think you'll stop blaming yourself and start redesigning your world. This massive plot twist starts in the late 1960s at Stanford University's Bing Nursery School. Psychologist Walter Mischel put a marshmallow in front of 4-year-olds and made them a deal. If they could wait for him to come back without eating it, they would get a second one. For 15 minutes, those kids struggled. They covered their eyes, they sang songs, they squirmed in their chairs. They did everything to resist the temptation right in front of them. Decades later, when Walter Mischel released the follow-up results, the world was shocked. The kids who resisted the marshmallow had way higher SAT scores, lower obesity rates, and were much more successful in life. This result immediately became the gospel for education systems worldwide. The logic was simple. If you want to succeed, you have to train your willpower to suppress your instincts and delay gratification. Parents told their kids to resist temptation. Schools designed programs around self-control. Self-help gurus built empires on the idea that discipline is the ultimate superpower. For 50 years, the message was clear. If your life isn't working out, you simply don't have enough willpower. But what if that entire narrative was built on a flawed experiment? In 2018, Tyler Watts and his team dropped new data that shook the very foundation of this study. They ran a much more sophisticated version with over 900 kids, 10 times larger than the original experiment, and they found a shocking variable that Mischel's study had completely overlooked. It was all about household income and the home environment. Kids from wealthy, stable homes were much better at waiting, but kids from poor, unstable backgrounds ate the marshmallow immediately. Here is the kicker. Once you factor in the parent's income level and the mother's education, the link between waiting for a marshmallow and future success basically disappears. So what does this actually mean? It means the kids didn't eat the marshmallow because they lacked willpower. They ate it because their world was just that unpredictable. A child who has learned that the fridge might be empty tomorrow, that promises from adults often go unkept, that the world doesn't reliably deliver on what it offers, that child isn't weak. That child is making the smartest decision their brain knows how to make. Now, if you think this is just about income, hold on, because the next experiment proves it goes even deeper than money. It is about something far more primal: trust. Professor Celeste Kidd from the University of Rochester designed an even more brilliant experiment. She split kids into 2 groups. She promised the first group she would bring back better crayons, and she kept that promise. For the second group, she made the same promise, but then came back empty-handed and told them there were no crayons left. Right after that, she gave both groups the exact same marshmallow test. The results were staggering. The kids who saw promises being kept waited an average of 12 minutes. But the kids who were lied to, they couldn't even last 3 minutes. Think about that. Same kids, same marshmallows, same room. The only thing that changed was whether the adult kept their word. For the kids who were lied to, eating the marshmallow immediately wasn't a lack of impulse control. It was the most rational survival strategy their brain could execute. Why wait for a second marshmallow that might never come when you can secure the one right in front of you? In psychology, this is called rational discounting. Your brain isn't broken. It is running a cost-benefit analysis based on the data your environment has given it. And if that data says, "Don't trust tomorrow," your brain will choose today, every single time. But here is where it gets truly unsettling, because the third study doesn't just challenge the marshmallow test. It reveals that poverty and instability literally change the way your brain operates. In 2013, Professors Senthil Mullainathan from Harvard and Eldar Shafir from Princeton published groundbreaking research on what they called the scarcity mindset. They found that when people are under financial stress, the constant worry about money consumes so much mental bandwidth that it actually lowers their cognitive performance. How much? The equivalent of losing 13 IQ points. Let me put that in perspective. That is roughly the cognitive impact of pulling an all-nighter, or the difference between normal functioning and the effects of chronic alcoholism. It is not that people in scarcity are less intelligent. It is that their brains are running so many background processes about survival that there is almost no processing power left for long-term planning, impulse control, or patience. Think of it this way. Your brain is like a computer. A wealthy kid's brain is running one browser tab. Should I eat this marshmallow? But a kid from an unstable home? Their brain has 47 tabs open. Will there be dinner tonight? Why was mom crying? Are we moving again? And somewhere in the back, barely loading, is a tiny tab that says Marshmallow Decision. It was never about willpower. It was about bandwidth. Now, you might be thinking this only applies to kids in labs, but the adult version of this experiment is playing out in your life right now, and you probably don't even realize it. Meet Sarah. She is a freelance graphic designer. She is talented, hardworking, and dreams of building her own brand. Every self-help book tells her the same thing. Wake up at 5 a.m., build a side project, invest in yourself, delay gratification. But Sarah's rent is late. Her client hasn't paid the last invoice. She doesn't know if she'll have enough work next month. So when a low-paying, soul-crushing rush job comes in at 11 p.m., she takes it. Every time. Is Sarah weak? Does she lack discipline? No. Sarah's brain is doing exactly what those 4-year-olds did. It is eating the marshmallow because her environment has given her no rational reason to believe the second one is coming. This is the lens we need to look through when we think about modern burnout, chronic procrastination, and the inability to stick with long-term goals. The person who can't save money isn't necessarily bad with finances. The person who can't stick to a diet isn't necessarily lacking discipline. The person who keeps choosing the safe, boring path isn't necessarily afraid of risk. Their brains might simply be operating in scarcity mode, where the only rational strategy is to grab whatever is available right now. So your brain is not your enemy. It is a survival machine, doing exactly what it was designed to do. The real question is, how do you rewire the equation? If willpower isn't the answer, what is? Step 1. Stop training your will. Start auditing your environment. Ask yourself, how many promises has my current environment actually kept? Does my job reward long-term investment, or does it only pay for short-term output? Do the people around me follow through on what they say? If the answer is mostly no, then your lack of follow-through isn't a character flaw. It is your brain correctly reading an unreliable environment. The fix isn't more discipline. It is changing the environment or finding one that keeps its promises. Step 2. Rebuild your brain's trust circuit with micro-commitments. Celeste Kidd's experiment showed that trust can be built or destroyed in minutes. Use this to your advantage. Make tiny promises to yourself and keep them. Not, I'll wake up at 5 a.m. every day. Start with, I'll drink a glass of water when I wake up tomorrow. Then keep that promise. Every kept promise, no matter how small, sends a signal to your brain. This environment delivers. Over time, your brain starts to believe that waiting pays off, and that is when patience stops being a struggle and starts becoming automatic. Step 3. Close the unnecessary tabs. If scarcity eats bandwidth, then freeing up mental space is the most powerful productivity hack that exists. This means reducing financial uncertainty wherever possible, even in small ways. It means removing yourself from chaotic relationships that keep your threat detection system on high alert. It means creating pockets of predictability in your daily life so your brain can afford to think long-term. You don't need more willpower. You need fewer open tabs. Let's go back to the beginning. For 50 years, the Marshmallow test told us a simple story. Patient kids succeed, impatient kids fail. Train your willpower, and you'll be fine. But the science now tells us a completely different story. Patient kids didn't succeed because they were strong. They succeeded because they were lucky enough to live in a world that kept its promises. And the kids who ate the marshmallow, they weren't weak. They were brilliant little survival machines, responding perfectly to a world that had taught them not to trust tomorrow. So the next time you beat yourself up for giving in, for not sticking with the plan, for choosing the easy path, stop and ask yourself the only question that actually matters. Am I trying to force my brain to wait? Or am I building a world worth waiting for? 50 years of gaslighting told you the problem was inside you. Today, you learned the problem was always outside you. Now you know, and once you know, you can't unknow it. This is Mind Grove, where your mindset grows.